Hello, everyone. Okay. Facebook's buttons aren't working, but their functions are, so I release control. Hello. I'm still getting to know this new method, Facebook's new interface for doing live streams. Since my studio burned and my tripod and my phone are out of commission for a minute, I'm improvising. Hello everyone, welcome, happy blessed new moon, and you're going to need it. New moons, full moons, always blessed, always portals, always points of power, opportunities for ritual, for grounding, for clarifying your intentions, for taking action or resting, depending. This moon is no different. This moon, I like always new moons. I tend to go within, and I'm less likely to be participating in a group or doing major socializing. I do have a pre-new moon ritual scheduled with the client. So we were going to make good use of this energy on her behalf. The day off, Monday, I pretty much will be fine if I can just wrap up in a cocoon and don't come out. But who knows what the day will bring. What's going on? New moon is in Virgo, moon and sun conjunct at, looking at the wrong chart, hang on, at 14 degrees, where the heck's Virgo? 14 degrees, 38 minutes. And that timing is at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So it's nighttime for me. And it's really, this is fairly intense. We, fortunately, the fire trine that was active during the last moon cycle has eased off. But we still have a lot of air and a lot of earth. And a lot of conjunctions. And the conjunctions happen to be in air and fire. And they are both connected to the galactic center. I'm going to read this poem for you again. I read it yesterday during a live stream. It is by Jen Miller, The Quill of the Goddess. And I feel like it sets a tone for what's available to us during this new moon and how we can use the ritual, the energy of this new moon, and it will make sense as we come through the reading. If they understood a womb at all, they would realize the futility of attempting to control what happens in the dark, silent depths of a woman. It is a place they cannot own or even imagine. It is like trying to steer the center of a galaxy and make the stars change direction. Words on paper will never give man the power of creation. Jen Miller, The Quill of the Goddess. And what this new moon chart does to amplify that energy, humans who stand for truth, who recognize the importance and vitality of a living, active, empowered feminine on the planet for the health of the planet and the people. This chart energizes all of that, just as Jen described it. There is a grand Earth trine happening, and it's happening at the exact same moment of the new moon. First off, the new moon is, it is trine Uranus. Uranus is, and that is an Earth trine. And what that stands for, the portal of the new moon is bringing in that Uranian energy. Uranian energy is innovation, sudden changes, spiritual epiphanies, a rising up that happens suddenly, electrically. It can indicate things having to do with technology. But definitely it has to do with something global, sudden, expansive, and potent. So we're looking at a shift. Something is literally galvanized, and galvanized is an early days of electronics expression. It's a chemical process that is facilitated by electricity, just in its broadest terms. So Uranus is galvanic at this new moon. Something's going to change because of energy. Now we can use the metaphor of electricity, but we are talking about spiritual, vibrational, activated energy that is planetary, galactic, cosmic in nature. And being that women flow cosmic energy between the cosmos and Earth quite naturally through our wombs, I have a feeling the feminine is involved. So let's look at the grand Earth trine. Now this is an Earth, it's grounded, it's coming to Earth, but the planets involved are fierce and transformative. Mars is in the last quarter of Virgo, 24-52, basically 25 Virgo. Opposite Neptune, which means that veils may be pulled back or pulled over. This could be happening in the unconscious dream realm until it emerges from that realm. Okay, that's an opposition. And then Mars is connecting to Pluto in Capricorn and over to Algol, the Lilith star, in Taurus. So we have the fierce, demonized goddess down to earth, where she has always lived for eons and eons, for as long as human beings have had our frontal lobes practically. This star has been in Taurus, the domain of Venus, the Queen of Heaven, but also the domain of the goddess, come to earth, honored and revered as earth, within earth, fertility, what grows, what is beautiful, what is abundant. And she has been demonized, and so she is gone. She is out of our consciousness, and therefore has descended into our unconscious. And she has been, well, in all of our lives, she emerges and is quickly suppressed or medicated because she's considered unacceptable. But in this era in which I came to maturity, you are alive, she's coming back. She is coming back, and she is toppling the pillars of patriarchy. She is standing ready to reclaim her place of power and healing, and to do some serious shit healing. And so right now at this moon, for a long time, Pluto is in the last quarter of Capricorn. So Pluto is in a long trine, a long relationship. These two are collaborating. They are coordinating their energies to create transformation. Pluto, death, transformation. That which no longer serves must die. It is time for the old and the outdated, outmoded, useless, finished, to be destroyed, so that something new can be born. And this involves the underworld. Both of these are significant about the underworld, and they are both in an earth trine with Mars, who's in the sign of the priestess. He is in his warrior, defense, protection, energized position in Virgo. He is protecting and doing the feminine's bidding. And so his sword, Mars's masculine fire, decisive energy, is in place for transformation, working with the divine feminine, the Lilith star, and working with Plutonic energy. So this is what's going on. Now, you could pull the covers back over your head on Monday morning or starting now and say, I'm just not getting up until this is over. And for many of us, having a moment of resting, going within, deep listening, processing, transmuting, metabolizing, we have a lot that's going on. We have a lot righteously to be pissed off about in the world. So feel your feelings and sit with them and say, what am I to do with this energy? How am I to use this energy? What is my role? How can I create with this? And go on this page, if you scroll down, you will see yesterday's outraged womb transmission, and I give you some ways to work with that energy and why it matters. So this new moon is the perfect time to just let that energy ground. Sit with your butt on the ground. Walk with your feet touching the ground. If you can do so barefooted, all the better. So what else is going on? The energy of air. We have air energy, ground and air going on, really, really heavy right now. And air is actually lighter, fast moving. We have Venus and Vesta in conjunction. In fact, I looked up the current chart for today, and today, this morning, early and still true, still accurate, is the exact conjunction of Venus and Vesta in Libra. This morning they were together at 21:29 and 21, well, at about 21 and change. And so they are still there, and Venus is moving ahead of Vesta by new moon, but they are still within a degree of each other, a couple of degrees. And so the Queen of Heaven and the Priestess are merging energies, and they are providing, because they're in air, they're fast moving, they have the wherewithal of intellectual intensity and clarity. They are balancing polarities there in Libra, and they are picking up energy from well, they're picking up energy, especially at the new moon. They're exactly opposite. They have moved forward a little bit in opposition to another potent conjunction, Hecate and Eris. I'm going to get to that because I am looking at the chart of this moment, and it's important. So I'm just going to mention it at this moment as we move into the new moon window. Vesta and Venus are in an exact opposition to the Lilith asteroid. This is the disowned personal feminine. The part of us that feels very betrayed by the way our governments are treating women. The laws and the attempts to control, the attempts to place fertilized eggs over the sovereignty of an adult human being. And that's just the symbolic point. This all means it's an attempt to put women back under the heel of patriarchy. Well, the Queen of Heaven and the High Priestess are opposite that wounded feminine, the feminine wound that says we have no power, we do not belong, we cannot think for ourselves, we must be paternalized by laws and males. And they are saying, they are gathering that energy and saying, look at yourself, look at the disowned feminine within, excavate that power, let it emerge. And how does it emerge? It emerges through rage. Rage is the porous portal through which the power of the disowned feminine can alchemize, metabolize, and emerge and take form. And Lilith is all about creating form. Lilith is fertility. She takes the seed and grows it into humans, fruits, flowers, earth, galaxies, planets, suns, stars, everything. And we women naturally tap into that power, and we cause things to happen. And it doesn't happen without us. The males can say, we control that energy. We actually did it. But they're wrong. They're lying. They're delusional. Just like Jen's poem says. So today, with Juno, Juno is rising at this moment. The great attractor is rising. And the disowned feminine, the feminine wound, is being illuminated by the great healing and empowering energy of Venus and Vesta. So that's happening right now. There's also a grand air trine. It's happening now, and it is still active at the new moon. That is Black Moon Lilith, Ceres, and the North Node in Gemini, Mercury in Libra, and Saturn in Aquarius. So we've got communication, form, and a divine feminine destiny that merges the creative power of Lilith with the nourishing aspect of the Earth, Ceres. So that is moving in air, and that is informing our minds. It is activating our minds to vision. That's one of the things that we do with anger and rage. We translate it into vision so that we can take steps. We know how to act, what to do, who to partner with. So we have a grand earth trine and a grand air trine. And fire is also present. Fire is happening. And I'm going to mention this because Jen said her poem was inspired by the galactic center, the black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And she was pondering that, and that is a womb energy. It is holding the center of our neighborhood, our galaxy. And so it's square Mars, so it's tapped into the Earth trine, the galactic center, and it is trine Hecate and Eris. Now let's talk about that. Especially next Monday on the new moon, Vesta and Venus are exactly opposite Hecate and Eris. Hecate is the crone at the crossroads. She is the wise woman, and Eris is young, energetic, gives no fucks. She is the generator of chaos and disruption. She really doesn't care. She's a trickster. She starts wars. She starts conflicts. She shows up people, goddesses, the divine, shows them up in their shadow selves. She brings the dirt out to play. That is Eris. And I've been saying all along that we need Eris now. Eris plays a really important role both in keeping us all honest and awake, and it takes somebody who doesn't give a shit to break down the patriarchy, because most of the rest of us have a lot to lose as the patriarchy falls. When the system, the economic and political system, and everything that you have lived in and is your comfort zone is cracking and crumbling, you can rejoice intellectually, but you have to acknowledge that any privileges or comforts you have from that, and I know that a huge proportion of the people on the planet, and certainly the other living species on the planet, don't have these privileges that I'm describing, but I acknowledge that I do, and most of the people you're going to meet on social media do, because it's what created social media. So Eris is there merging her energy with Hecate, and Hecate she's a crone, she's a witch, she's very, very old. She's a triple goddess. We see her most often in her crone aspect, but she can show up at any age. In fact, when she shows up young, she's probably Eris's twin sister, because there is something dispassionate about her, something that holds us to the fire, that holds us to responsibility, to making decisions, to having common sense, to being the adult in the room, and to working our magic. She has a lot of magic, Hecate does, and she sees a lot. And she is saying, open your eyes and use your magic and take responsibility. And oh, my young friend Eris here, she doesn't really care who gets hurt. So put your good girl away. She's not going to serve you so much right now. That's kind of spooky, isn't it? It means look at the side of you that is pissed off. That is, and Lilith, by the way, Lilith asteroid is hanging there right with them. She has been in conjunction to both of these planets, these young lady and the old lady, and right now she's retrograding away, but she's going to come back and meet them any day now. So she's been there in this aspect. These two are waking up the disowned feminine and saying, she's your power. Own her. And that's hard work. And so at the new moon, at this particular moment where all this energy is coming together, we can just take a breather, gather our energy, gather our forces. If we are so inclined, we can meet with a circle of like-minded people, and we can listen very deeply and ask for our marching orders. What are we required to do? What are we being called to do? How are our gifts emerging and being used right now towards the vision? And one thing we can do, the air trine and the other air energy, the priestess and the Queen of Heaven in Libra together are, and Black Moon Lilith in air, they're all saying, get really clear on your vision. What are you choosing to create? You need to know that first. You make it with building blocks, one block at a time. But knowing, it's really important to know what is your next step. Are you going the right direction? Who are you partnering with? Are they the right people for you to be with? That is the work of this new moon, to connect there. It just so happens, here I'm going to close with this. This new moon is opposite Nessus in Pisces. Nessus is ancestral healing. The buck stops here. Anything you are carrying inside of you from your ancestors, from your past, especially of an abusive, traumatic, sex abuse type of nature, that's going to come up. It can't but help it at this new moon. The portal is open. So if you're seeing or feeling that, I've talked to some people who are experiencing rage. And if you're feeling rage and you don't know where it's coming from, allow yourself to know it may be around that topic. It may be buried, and so you don't know what it is exactly. And maybe it's not even yours. Maybe it's something that happened to your mother, your grandmother, your ancestors, however far back. Whatever it is, you have been given this opportunity to heal it, to face it, to work with it. Maybe you need to bring it to consciousness. Maybe you just can release it. A lot of times, the most potent work we can do is be willing to let it go. Once we recognize something's in there, we can waste a lot of energy and just keep churning and churning and churning in needing to know what happened that I didn't know happened. What happened that I can't remember. So be willing to let it go and to let it heal. To recognize that whatever it is has meaning and significance. It's not imaginary, and yet you do not have to relive it in order to heal it. That window is open. So many windows are open. So I wish you many blessings during this new moon, much support from spirit, from the planets, from your own guides and energies, your own rituals as you step through this portal. And I also want to remind you I am available for Divine Feminine Astrology readings. There's a few spots available for September. I do 3 to 5 depending on how my other clients are going. So they're open. They're open for you to book this September, and we can get started right away. Thank you so much for being here. It is my pleasure always to bring you these readings.